Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Saima Amin from Jamia Hamdard. Today we are going to discuss about the module evaluation of biphasic dosage form, especially the suspension formulations under the paper Pharmaceutical and Biological Analysis. The learning objective for this module, biphasic dosage forms, suspensions, will be, I will be giving you the brief introduction to the concept of suspension formulations, then what are the problems encountered in suspension formulations and how can we be evaluating the suspension dosage form for a good quality. As we all know that suspension is a two-phase composition where the solid particles, the dispersed phase is dispersed uniformly into the liquid phase called as dispersion medium with the help of a suspending agent. These are the coarse dispersions where the particle size is greater than 0.5 millimeter, unlike colloidal dispersions where the particle size is very less in the range 1 nanometer to 0.5 millimeter. The unlimited aqueous solubility of active pharmaceutical ingredients is the biggest rationale for developing a suspension formulation. But to disperse these solid particles in a liquid vehicle is difficult due to the adsorbed layer of air on the surface of solid particles. Therefore, even the high density particles float on the surface of liquid because the air is not displaced completely. Therefore, for solid particles not easily wetted by the aqueous vehicle after removal of adsorbed air are formulated using surface active agents. Unless the dispersed solid is colloidal, the solid tends to settle to the bottom of the container on standing. Such sedimentation may lead to caking and solidification of the sediment, which is then posing the problem of redispersing of the suspension. To avoid such instability problem, additives like viscosity modifiers such as polyethylene glycol, polyvinyl pyrrolidone, glycerine, sorbitol and sugars are added, and additives like surfactants, wetting agents like alcohol, glycerine and propylene glycol, mineral oil for non-aqueous vehicle are also incorporated. Sometimes we need to add thixotropic vehicles also in order to go for good kind of a suspension formulation. As you can see in this slide, it indicates the formation of a suspension formulation. Suspension is a formulation where solid particles are dispersed uniformly in the aqueous phase. The left diagram is indicating the dispersion, but it is not possible for the solid particle to disperse uniformly. Therefore, we need to add wetting agents so that the adsorbed layer around the solid particle is disturbed and indicating that now this solid particle is dispersed uniformly in the aqueous medium. But for most of the particles, it is not possible that mere adding of wetting agent will do dispersion uniformly. Therefore, at times, we need to add surface active agents which are effective at the surface and reduces the surface tension between the solid particle and the aqueous phase, leading to a uniform dispersion of solid into the aqueous medium. As you all know that suspension is a formulation where solid is dispersed in the aqueous medium, but this dispersion is not uniform throughout the storage of the formulation, and it is the tendency of these solid particles to show some settling. Therefore, the settling of particles is cleared through Stokes' law, which indicates that the rate of sedimentation or the velocity of sedimentation is directly proportional to the square root of the diameter of the dispersed particle. Also, it is directly proportional to the differences in the density of aqueous phase and the dispersed phase, and it is also directly related to the acceleration due to gravity, that is small g. The rate of settling or the velocity of sedimentation is inversely proportional to the viscosity of the dispersion medium, that is eta. Since the dispersed solid particles in a suspension may have charge due to selective adsorption of the particular ionic species present in the vehicle, therefore, these particles may become positively or negatively charged by the selective adsorption of the ions. The charge may be imparted due to ionization of the functional groups of the particle also. Therefore, the total charge is a function of the pH of the surrounding vehicle. And due to this, the electrokinetic properties of this biphasic system shows formation of a tight layer due to ions from the solid particle and the counter ions from the aqueous medium. Due to formation of diffusion layer also and electroneutral layer, these biphasic formulations show different characteristics. As you can see clearly in this slide, that a solid particle which is positively charged faces the counter ions which are present in the aqueous medium. Therefore, the counter ions and the solid particles ions tend to adhere together tightly, forming a tightly bound layer. Now, the rest of the solid particle ions which are there move towards the aqueous medium, where some of the counter ions from the aqueous vehicle are adhered to the solid particles, leading to a formation of a diffuse layer where the integrity of ions along with the counter ions is not that high. As the particle move further into the diffusion medium, a region of electroneutral region is seen, where neutrality is seen in the dispersion medium. Because of this, we can say that the potential near to the tight bound layer, potential near to the diffusion layer, and the potential near to electroneutral region will be different. And this is the basis for determination of zeta potential for most of the biphasic system. This concept is called as electric double layer concept for the biphasic systems. The difference in electric potential between the actual surface of the solid particle and the electroneutral region is referred as Nernst potential, which is controlled by electrical potential at the surface of the particle due to the potential determining ions, and this has little effect on stability of suspension. But the potential difference between the ions in the tightly bound layer and electroneutral region is referred to as zeta potential and has significant effect on the stability of suspensions. Zeta potential governs the degree of repulsion between adjacent similar charged solid dispersed particles. If the zeta potential is reduced below a critical value, the force of attraction between particles succeed, leading to flock formation. Now we have to discuss the different evaluation of a suspension formulation. As we all know that suspensions are the biphasic systems, so we need to evaluate them for their physical attributes and for their chemical integrity also. The physical stability of suspension covers the attributes such as appearance, color, odor, taste, pH, specific gravity, sedimentation rate, sedimentation volume, microscopic examination for crystal size and aggregate formation, determination of the uniform drug distribution. The chemical stability of a suspension involves study of degradation of active ingredient, viscosity change, pH, and adsorption of preservatives onto the drug particle, and finally change in the charge density. First of all, we have to evaluate any suspension formulation for the visual aspects. For visual inspection of suspensions, sign of physical instability is observed, which is indicated by the formation of flocculants or sediments which do not readily disperse on gentle shaking. A change in color may indicate chemical degradation or microbial contamination of the formulation. However, with visual inspection, the ingredients and the final products are carefully examined for purity and appearance. This physical evaluation for appearance of suspension is required for patient adherence and compliance. Therefore, the formulation should be good looking and elegant in appearance. The second quality feature for a suspension formulation is a sedimentation volume, which is denoted as capital F. Sedimentation volume of a suspension is expressed by the ratio of equilibrium volume of the sediment, that is Vu, to the total volume of the suspension, that is V naught. Therefore, the sedimentation volume F is equal to the ratio of Vu by V naught. The value of this F lies between 0 to 1 for most of the pharmaceutical formulations. The value of F provides a qualitative knowledge about the physical stability of the suspension. If the value is 1, no sedimentation occurs or there is no clear supernatant. But if the value is 0.5, it indicates 50% of the total volume is occupied by the sediment, and if the value is greater than 5, it indicates that floccules have been formed in the suspension. As you can see this slide, it is clearly indicating the two types of the suspensions, the flocculated suspension and the deflocculated suspensions. The left one indicates a deflocculated suspension where there is no sedimentation of the dispersed particle. To us, the formulation appears more homogeneous and the volume of suspension, that is V naught, is measured in this way, that is the whole volume of the suspension. But if you see the right side of this slide, it indicates the flocculated suspension where we are clearly seeing the formation of sediments which have shown settling at the bottom. The supernatant is very clear because most of the dispersed particles have sedimented. Here the volume of sediment is measured and is indicated as Vu. The next parameter for the evaluation of a suspension formulation is the degree of flocculation, which is denoted as beta. This degree of flocculation is the ratio of the sedimentation volume of the flocculated suspension, that is F, to the sedimentation volume of the deflocculated suspension, that is F sigma. Therefore, this beta is equal to the ratio of F by F sigma, and we can drive this equation in terms of the volume of flocculated suspension and the volume of sediment in the deflocculated suspension. The expression is indicated in the slide clearly. When the total volume of both the flocculated and the deflocculated suspensions are same, the degree of flocculation is equal to Vu of flocculated by Vu of deflocculated. The minimum value of beta is 1, which indicates that the sedimentation volume of the flocculated suspension is equal to the sedimentation volume of the deflocculated suspension. Beta is more fundamental parameter than F because it relates the volume of flocculated sediment to that in a deflocculated system. The next important parameter for evaluation of any biphasic system is the rheology, which indicates that the viscosity of a suspension formulation affects and controls the settling of the dispersed particle, and it also affects the pourability of the formulation. An ideal viscosity for suspension should be high during storage to prevent sedimentation of the dispersed particle, and at the same time it should be low at high shear for ease of administration. Pseudoplastic substances such as tragacanth, sodium alginate, sodium carboxymethyl cellulose are used as suspending agent for thixotropic as well as pseudoplastic flow of these biphasic formulations. Usually, we use Brookfield viscometer to know the rheology of the formulation, and the apparatus is mounted on a helipad stand to minimize the vibrations. There is a T-bar spindle which is made to descend slowly into the suspension taken in a beaker, and the dial reading on the viscometer is a measure of the resistance the spindle meets at various levels in the sediment. The data obtained for the stored samples indicate whether undesired changes took place in the suspension formulation or not. This measurement is also made on undisturbed samples of different storage time, and the results indicate how the particles are settling with time. The better suspensions show a lesser rate of dial reading with the spindle turns, that is, the curve is horizontal for a long period of time. The principle behind the working of Brookfield viscometer is viscosity is directly proportional to tau, that is the shear stress, measured in dynes per centimeter square unit, and viscosity is inversely proportional to the rate of shear measured in time inverse. A material requiring a shear stress of 1 dyne per centimeter square to produce a shear rate of 1 reciprocal second has viscosity of 1 poise, and in terms of centipoise it is 100. This slide shows the functioning of a Brookfield viscometer, where there is a display unit on the upper side which indicates the viscosity measurements, and it also indicates the values related to the different features for rheology. The spindle T-bar spindle is designated, which is allowed to enter into the suspension taken in a beaker, and as the spindle is operated and the stress the spindle faces is depicted in the display unit, it is related to the viscosity of the suspension in the beaker. The next crucial parameter for evaluating a suspension formulation is zeta potential, which is expressed as theta. The zeta potential can be measured through macroelectrophoresis using apparatus such as Zeta Plus from the company Brookven Instruments Corporation USA, or can be measured through Malvern Zeta Sizer from Malvern Instruments Limited, United Kingdom. The zeta potential shows the stability of the prepared dispersed system. Approximately 1 ml of suspension is transferred into plastic cuvette using a pipette and is diluted with distilled water. The parameters are usually set at temperature of 25 degrees centigrade and refractive index 1.33 for the dispersion medium. The zeta potential of suspension is determined on days 0, 7th, 14, 21st and day 28 post formulation in order to assess the stability of the suspension. The flocculated suspension is a one which shows zeta potential of particle ranging from 0 to positive values in millivolt, while the deflocculated one shows the values towards the negative side, that is ranging from -10 to -30 millivolts. The next parameter is the micromeretic method to evaluate the stability of the dispersed system. This micromeretic is the science and technology of small particles. Suppose we have conducted a microscopic examination of a sample of a suspension and we have recorded the number of particles lying within the various size ranges. Then we can compute various statistical data related to the particle size of that dispersed system. Since we know that the stability of suspension depends on the particle size of the dispersed phase, so any change in the particle size with reference to time will provide useful information regarding the stability of a suspension. A change in particle size distribution and crystal habit can also be studied by microscopy and Coulter-Counter method. In this slide, you can clearly see that the size ranges in terms of micrometer have been set. For example, we can set the size ranges seeing the smear of the suspension under microscope from as low as 0.50 micron to 4 micron, and then we are taking the mean of this range. It is depicted in the second column. Then the number of particles lying within that range, we have to count them through microscope by seeing the slide, and the number of particles are denoted in the third column. Then we calculate the ND value, that is the multiplication of the column 2 to column 3 to give the ND value. Finally, we can calculate the statistical parameters like ND square, ND cube and so forth, and ultimately we can calculate the various statistical parameters which are shown in slide number 22. This slide shows the various statistical diameters calculated for any kind of a dispersed system. Photomicroscopy is a method to assess the particle size and shape of the suspended particles in a suspension. The microscope can be used to estimate and detect the changes in the particle size distribution and the crystal form. The rapid processing of photomicrographs is enhanced by attaching Polaroid camera to the piece of the monomolecular microscope. By using these photomicrographs, we can determine the changes in the physical properties and the stability of the suspension. Microscopy, as we all know, is a useful tool, and it is a direct method for measuring the particle size of the suspension, because in addition to the particle size and size distribution, it provides crucial information related to the visual detection of the shape and state of the aggregation of the particles in the suspension. However, this method suffers from the shortcomings of being tedious and time consuming. As you all know, that particle size measurement can also be done through light scattering using Malvern zetasizer, and the sonication of sample is a prime requirement before measuring the particle size in the dispersed system, because this sonication ensures that the data is a true representative for the particle size distribution. Crystal growth. Crystal growth is also a feature to say that the quality of the suspension is optimal. In pharmaceutical suspensions, usually crystal growth causes problems in the stability and bioavailability of the suspensions, and it can be minimized by utilizing the open network aggregates like floccule suspensions type. And since particles cannot sediment to a close proximity because of the rigidity of the aggregate, polyvinyl pyrrolidone can provide this kind of a network and inhibits the crystal growth. The rate of crystal growth depends on variety of the parameters, such as the solubility of the drug, that is the saturation concentration, the temperature, the degree of supersaturation, and the temperature difference on the storage and the frequency of temperature cycling. Any mechanical stress such as stirring must also be considered. It influences both the dissolution and the bioavailability of suspension. Freeze-thaw test is again a quality attribute for a dispersed system. Freeze-thaw test is conducted by placing the suspension in a freezer for 18 hours, followed by thawing at room temperature for 4 to 6 hours. The cycle is repeated at least 10 times to determine the tendency to crystallize or to show coloration. The test can also be performed by subjecting suspensions to elevated temperature for short periods of storage to test for physical stability. The elevated temperature causes significant amount of drug to go into the solution, and subsequent cooling causes the excess of the drug in the solution to reprecipitate. If suspension is able to withstand exposures to extreme temperature, it is called as physically stable suspension. This kind of a test is also called as aging test for the suspensions. pH measurement again is a feature to say that the dispersed system is stable. The measurement and maintenance of pH is also a very important quality control test, and generally there are two different types of methods used to measure the pH. The simplest one and the cheapest one is to dip a piece of pH paper into the simple pH solution of that dispersed system, and the value defines the presence of the H+ ions in the suspension formulation. The other method is to use the pH meter, which is a device calibrated and validated to measure the pH of the sample with the use of electrode. The pH value of this aqueous suspension should be taken at a given temperature and only after equilibrium is reached, so that a pH drift is minimized, and the electrode surface coating with suspended particles is also negligible. Usually, electrodes are immersed in the solution under examination, and pH is measured at 25 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade. Ideal value of pH of a suspension formulation lies in the range of 4.5 to 7.2. Density of a suspension formulation again is an important parameter for the stability. Specific gravity or density of a suspension is required to be known, and a decrease in density often indicates the presence of entrapped air within the structure of the suspension. Therefore, density measurements at given temperature should be made using well-mixed uniform suspensions. Usually, density is determined using picrometer or the density bottle. We have to assess the resuspendability of a suspension, which is again the index to say that the particles are resuspended so that we can take the appropriate dose from the bottle holding the suspension formulations. The suspension should redisperse with minimum effort, and it is the important prerequisite for a good and stable suspension. The suspension usually is allowed to sediment in a stoppered glass cylinder for 1 month, and then shaking the sedimented suspension is done manually at 180-degree angle. Based on the numbers of shaking required to disperse this sediment uniformly again into a suspension indicates the quality of the suspension. Cake formation is also evaluated qualitatively, and formulations requiring more than 10 shakings are considered positive for cake formation. Sedimentation velocity and the instability index again helps us to say the quality for the suspension formulations. Tilting of suspension from its normal upright position allows an increase in the separation rate at gravity without any additional external forces. The inclined position of the sample tube due to a tilt results in accelerated sedimentation velocity compared to the upright position of the tube at 0-degree tilt. In this test, a simple sample volume of 2 ml is used, and the measurements at 0-degree, 30-degree, 30-degree tilt, and 30-degree and 60-degree tilt for suspension samples are taken. For instability index, suspension sample is taken in a glass cuvette, and extinction profiles are measured at 3 wavelengths, that is 470 nanometer for the blue, 630 nanometer for red, and 870 nanometer for the near infrared region. The extinction profiles of 870 nanometer, that is near infrared wavelength, is taken into account for determination of sedimentation stability, as the near infrared light region is sensitive for measurement of data of coarse particles. Blue light in the region 470 nanometer is sensitive for nano range particles in the suspension formulation. Instability index generally ranges from 0 to 1, and the higher the value, more will be the instability for the suspension. Therefore, instability index is a very useful tool for comparison of different suspending agents and for selection of suitable suspending agent during the suspension formulation development. Test for uniformity for the content is again a important parameter which is to be evaluated in order to say about the biological performance or efficacy of the formulation. The test for uniformity of suspensions is carried out for a single dose formulation, and it indicates the uniformity of the content dispersed in the formulation. Suspensions that contain less than 10 milligram or less than 10% of the active ingredient must comply with this test. 10 containers are usually taken, and the content of each container is emptied. Then content of active ingredients of each of 10 containers is determined using the method given in the monograph or adopting any suitable analytical method. The formulation complies with the test if the individual value obtained lies between 85 to 115% of the average value. The preparation fails to comply with the test if more than one individual value is outside the limit of 85 to 115 of the average value, or if any one individual value is outside the limit of 75 to 125% of the average value. If one individual value is outside the limits of 85 to 115%, but within the limits of 75 to 125% of the average value, the test is repeated using another 20 containers taken randomly. The formulation complies with the test if not more than 3 individual values are outside the limits of 85 to 115%, and not more than one is outside the limits of 75% to 125% of the average value in total samples of 30 containers. Uniformity of mass. The uniformity of mass is evaluated for the suspension formulations. The contents of 20 containers are weighed individually and their average mass is determined. If not more than 2 of the individual masses deviate by more than 10% from the average mass and none deviate by more than 20%, then uniformity of mass of delivered doses from that unit dose container is assured. The dissolution of a suspension formulation is also very important because this dissolution determines us the rate and extent of the drug release from the suspension formulation. For suspensions containing slowly or poorly soluble drug, the determination of dissolution rate may be more important. The dissolution test measures the amount of the time required for a given percentage of drug substance in a suspension to go into a solution under the specified set conditions of temperature, and this dissolution provides a step towards the evaluation of physiological availability of our prepared suspension. But it is not designed to measure the safety or efficacy of any kind of a suspension formulation. Therefore, this dissolution provides us the in vitro control procedure to eliminate variations among the different production batches. The dissolution test of a suspension is carried out in apparatus 1, that is pedal, at a 50 rpm speed using 900 ml of dissolution medium, and the temperature is maintained at 37 plus minus 0.5 degree centigrade. Stability study. Stability of a biphasic system, especially suspension, is also very important, and we have to assess the stability of suspension through ICH guidelines, that is International Conference on Harmonization Q1A, which clearly indicates that the stability of a pharmaceutical product like suspension, emulsion, tablets and capsules to be evaluated. For pharmaceutical suspensions, the various parameters analyzed include description, pH, water content, assay and shelf life. These parameters are evaluated at 0 month, 1st month, 2nd month, 3rd month and the 6th month intervals. The conditions under which these parameters are analyzed include: for accelerated stability study, usually the temperature is maintained at 40 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade at a relative humidity of 75 plus minus 5%. And for long-term stability study, the room temperature is used, that is 25 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade, maintained along with the relative humidity 60 plus minus 5%. Ultimately, the quality of a biphasic system like suspension is evaluated on the basis of the label pasted on the container. The contents of a suspension formulation should be indicated on this label, and the strength in terms of active ingredients in a suitable dose volume formulation must be indicated. The period of storage and the storage conditions are also required to be made on the label, and the label must state the name of any added antimicrobial preservative. Let's summarize this module of suspension formulation, which is a biphasic kind of a formulation. At least after getting information from this module, we can conclude that these suspensions are the biphasic systems consisting of solid particles which are uniformly dispersed into the aqueous medium and with the help of a suspending agent. Since these are the biphasic dosage forms, they are very prone to instability and tend to segregate upon storage. So, in order to formulate a quality controlled formulation, certain physical, chemical and biological performances of the formulation should be evaluated. Mostly, suspensions are evaluated for their degree of flocculation, sedimentation, density, particle size distribution, uniformity of content, uniformity of mass and the stability. A stable suspension has an optimal particle size, it exhibits minimum settling, allows easy metering of the dose, is pharmaceutically elegant and resistant to degradation at specified storage conditions. Thank you.